Hey, what's up guys? So this video is going to be my Metallica collection, and this is just part one of my Metallica collection. I have so much stuff that I just simply cannot show all in one video. It would be 2 hours long. So these videos are going to be broken up in parts. So this is my first part of my Metallica collection. So I'm showing you my Metallica figurines that Todd McFarlane did, and this is during the time of Justice for All. This is during their tour, so this is their Justice tour, and pretty awesome figures these are. They're rare now. They're really hard to come by now. You might be able to get them online, but they're like crazy expensive. And this is a cool set because, you know, it has like stage lights. Well, they're not real stage lights, but they flash like stage lights. And the little lights flash, and different colors, and you can press a button on here and music plays, so it sounds like they're playing. So you hear the song 1, the little so you hear that part when you play it, so it's pretty cool. But these figures are very detailed. They look just like them. I mean, James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, Kirk Hammett, Jason Newsted. This was during 1988, 89, somewhere around there, during their Justice tour. So if you're a Metallica fan, you will love this set, this figurines, them on stage, kicking ass. Yeah, I love the background with the Lady Justice from the cover art of their Injustice for All album. Lars looks badass drumming here. It's pretty cool. I like that James is playing his Flying V here. Kirk Hammett shredding it on his guitar. I mean, it's just pretty badass. These figures are awesome. I'm glad I purchased these. It cost me just a little more than what it cost in the stores back in the day. I believe they ran about $100. I spent close to that, maybe just a slight more. I mean, they were very expensive in the stores. I want to say they were like $80, $90, but I got a good deal. So this is my Metallica CD collection. I have all the albums. I still collect CDs. I don't care, to be honest. MP3s I never really got into. So here we go. The classic, their first debut album, Kill 'Em All, which probably a lot of people, the old school hardcore Metallica fans, this is probably their favorite album of all of them. It's a good album to start off with. It's not the album I play a lot, but I have fun with it when I listen to it. The songs are fun. It's raw. It's obviously their first album. It's just kind of thrashy throughout. So, I mean, it's a decent album for their first album for that time period. This was in the 80s. And this is their second album, Ride the Lightning, which they changed their style a little bit. It started changing. They had a slower song on here, Fade to Black, and that caused some controversy. So, and the music kind of it had a little more dynamic with their music in this. It wasn't so thrashy. There was some, you know, they added a little more. I really like this album. This is like one of my favorite albums from them. Love the title track, Ride the Lightning. I like Fade to Black. I like Call the Cthulhu. There's a lot of great songs on here. And this is, Metallica at their best with, Cliff Burton, who unfortunately passed away in 1986 from a freak bus accident. Very sad. He died very young, in his early 20s. So that's Ride the Lightning. Really solid album. Their second album, which is really good. And then we have their third album, which is Master of Puppets, which is the one that really, got them to the masses. I mean, this album did really well, like a billion. Not a billion, but a million. Not a billion, a million. They made 1 million copies. They sold a lot of those. Sold 1 million copies of it. They were on tour with Ozzy, and this was the starting point. They didn't have any MTV. It was mostly strictly radio and underground, word of mouth. They got to the masses. They got really popular. They didn't make one music video, and they sold 1 million copies. This was their big album at the time. And the tracks on there, Master of Puppets is really good. The Thing That Should Not Be, Sanitarium, Welcome Home Sanitarium. There's a lot of good songs on here as well. Yeah, showing you some artwork of them, their pictures, and they look so young here compared to how they look now. Still got their long hair and everything. Damaged and Corporate is a cool song. Really thrashy, kicking ass. It's a really solid album, another good one. Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets are my favorite albums from theirs, from the 80s. This is Injustice for All. People really love this album. Absolutely love this album. And I respect this album. It's really good. This is their fourth album, and it's a good album, but the production could be a lot better. There's no bass. You hardly hear the bass from Jason Newsted. This was during their time when Cliff Burton had died, and they made this, and they were hazing Jason Newsted, which replaced Cliff Burton. So they kind of just didn't have the bass being played, so you don't hear the bass at all. They just turned it off. So poor Jason, you don't get to hear his bass hardly in this album. Good songs. The song One, which they made a music video of. Awesome song. There's a lot of cool songs on here too. It's just the production. It's not my favorite production of theirs. It could be better. It could be a better production. And I think that's why they made the Black Album, which is simply titled Metallica, their fifth album, but everybody calls this the Black Album, with the snake and the logo and the black cover. I mean, we call it the Black Album. And this is when, in 1991, this is the album that really pissed off diehard fans, because they really changed their style. And this was their mainstream. most popular album. They still play Enter Sandman to this day, and The Unforgiven, and Wherever I May Roam, and Nothing Else Matters, which was a ballad. Really pissed off a lot of fans. They felt betrayed. But I really enjoy this album. This was the album that got me into Metallica. I didn't know who Metallica was until I, heard this album. Heard this song. Enter Sandman. Without Enter Sandman, I wouldn't have known who these guys were. When in the 80s, I was a kid. So I didn't even know who the hell Metallica was. It wasn't until the 90s, like in between like the mid 90s, because I didn't even know who I didn't even know who Metallica was even at this time period in '91 when they were really popular, doing Enter Sandman and all these music videos and songs, because I wasn't listening to this type of music at that time period. Because back then in '91, rap was really popular, so I wasn't listening to heavy metal when I was a kid. It wasn't until like mid 90s I really got into Metallica. So yeah, it's a really awesome album. Every song's awesome. Most Metallica albums, I pretty much like all their songs. So I don't think I really dislike any of their songs. There might be one or two, maybe from the Load and Reload albums, which is this. This is Load that came out in 1996. People hate this freaking album. Especially Reload. They hate that even more. And it was supposed to be a double album. Because it's supposed to be one album. But they didn't have enough time to finish all the songs, so they just did one album, which was Load. A year later, they released Reload, was the second part of Load. So really, they're both the same album. It's just split apart in two albums. And Load, my problem with Load is just too many slow songs. I like Until It Sleeps. I like King Nothing. I like Hero of the Day. I like Mama Said. I like, The Outlaw Torn. There's a lot of good songs in there, but there's too many slow songs in that album. And I like faster songs. So this is Reload, which people might find controversial. I actually prefer Reload more than Load, because there's just more faster songs and more experimental. This was during their time where they were being really experimental with alternative, hard rock. It wasn't heavy metal. It's really messing with their sounds, really experimenting, with Fuel, Memory Remains, Unforgiven 2, Carpe Diem Baby. I mean, Where the Wild Things Are. I mean, the one song, Low Man's Lyric, holy shit. That was extremely experimental. So those albums people don't really like, because they're not heavy metal. This is Garage Inc. This is covers from Garage Days, and it's like two discs. It's from Garage Days, from the CD back in the day from the 80s, and then they got another disc which is newer covers they did. And I enjoy this album. I kind of wish I kept my original Garage Days CD. I kind of kicked myself, but I had to, I needed the money, and since I already had this, I just kept this instead. I didn't really need my Garage Days CD anymore, but I kind of kicked myself anyway for doing it, because it's a rare thing now. Plus, I had some cool little outtakes and interviews and stuff on there. But yeah, Garage Inc. is pretty badass cover album. This is cool. The Metallica Cats, covering all your favorites. I like this picture. They're all dressed up and GQ looking. I like astronomy on here. I like Turn the Page and a lot of their lot of covers. They're really good at doing covers. Like they're freaking awesome. Now this is S&M. This is Symphony and Metallica. That's what it stands for. It doesn't stand for something else. It actually stands for Symphony and Metallica, which is a badass concert, which they're going to do again this year. S&M 2, which is going to have some newer songs and some songs from the original S&M concert. I'm assuming they're going to release it on CD or whatever they're going to do. But hopefully we get a new song. This has No Leaf Clover, which is cool. It's a newer song, Minus Human. It was cool to hear some new songs on here. So now we got Saint Anger. Came out in 2003. This was after the whole Jason Newsted left the band. So the band was having issues. They made a documentary about it called Some Kind of Monster. They were about to break up as a band. So this is what they made. This album is kind of a reflection of the band, of what they were going through, possibly breaking up. So this is the result. This album, when I first heard it, I wasn't crazy about it. I didn't like the production. I didn't like the no solos. I didn't like that it was just new metal type of shit like Korn, and it didn't sound like Metallica. It sounded too different. But that's how Metallica is. They always try to change their style. How many times do you have to hear the same song? Same type of heavy metal. I mean, bands usually just sound the same all the time. So Metallica takes chances. They're not one trick pony. They always take a chance, change their style, and I respect them for that. This album has grown on me since the years, with the trash can sounds of the drumming with Lars. It could be better, but it's not as bad as people say it is. Now this is Metallica Death Magnetic. Improvement from Saint Anger, definitely. But it's still, I don't know. They got Unforgiven 3 on here, which is a good song, but I think at this point they should stop doing Unforgiven songs. I think 3 is enough. The Day That Never Comes and Broken, Beaten, Scarred, and there's some good songs on here. All Nightmare Long. But the only problem I have with this album is it feels like they're just trying too hard to sound like their old 80s heavy metal. It's like, it's okay to move forward, guys. You can sound different. You don't always have to sound exactly how you guys sounded in the 80s. Don't have to sound like you did in the 90s by being mainstream and commercial, but you can always change your style. It doesn't have to be exactly like from the 80s. This is Beyond Magnetic. These are songs that were not on Death Magnetic, so they released this as a separate CD. So there are 4 tracks that were not in Death Magnetic, so they released this separately as, a bonus for fans. So we get to hear the tracks that weren't released, like To Hell and Back. Yeah, Hell and Back, and Just a Bullet Away, and some songs that people heard on YouTube and clips, but never they were never released on Death Magnetic. But they're cool. They're pretty cool as it is, so I'm glad I have it in my collection. And then we got, this is their last album, which came out in 2016. This is Hardwired to Self-Destruct. And this is like, kind of like old school mixed with like 90s mixed with something newer. It's like a blend. It's like a combination of all their albums in one. It's got a little bit of the 80s Metallica. It's got a little bit of the 90s Metallica with the Black Album and Loads, and it's got a lot of different little sounds. It's almost like their best of, like, different styles and they've done throughout the years. It's a pretty heavy album though, but it does change a lot, so it makes it a very interesting album. But can I say it's like very different and like totally, not what you expect from Metallica? Absolutely not. They played it safe. It seems like Metallica's been playing it safe ever since they did Saint Anger. They've been playing it safe ever since, with the Death Magnetic and this album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I think with a lot of backlash from Saint Anger and the Napster, they've been playing it safe. They've just been going back to the roots. I'll be really shocked if they go back to like 90s mainstream Metallica in their next album. I think they're going to just continue going on doing heavy metal type of stuff until they finally just hang it up. Because I guess that's what works. They want people to forget about Napster. They want to forget about the Loads and Saint Anger. Saint Anger wasn't that bad. I mean, there's a couple good songs. Saint Anger is a good song. Frantic's a good song. Some Kind of Monster's a good song. There's some good songs. It's just they're too long and they needed solos, and they could have been shorter. This thing I got at some store, some music shop. It's like a fan can like CD. It was exclusive only to fans. It's like, studio sessions, like them trying to do demos or just goofing off. This is like between 92 and 96, them just goofing off and playing different riffs and songs, making fun of songs like Back in Black from AC/DC. So it's a fun little thing. This is a book which comes with an interview disc in there. This just shows like pictures and talks about their history. So you get information about their albums, about their life on the road, and all kinds of stuff in here. It's a pretty cool book that I got here. I don't know what the name of the book or disc is called. It's something I got at the music shop back in the day. And you can see the pictures. The pictures are pretty cool. They're from the early 80s, when they were starting out in Kill 'Em All, 83, to like, this looks like 90s, like during Black Album. So, got Ride the Lightning here, really old pictures. So funny to see them with long hair. Now they got short hair. That was a big controversy during Load. They cut their hair. They say that, it was a natural progression of just all of them cutting their hair. But I really believe they did it as a publicity stunt. I really believe they did that intentionally. Kind of strange that they all cut their hair and were dressed all GQ looking and stripped down their music and were like freaking easy listening type of shit. Unload. So I think that was all a publicity stunt, if you ask me, to stay relevant or what the hell they were doing, because they knew they couldn't live up to the Black Album by their next album, which was Load. So I have other stuff here. So we have DVDs, we have CDs, box sets. I have a lot of stuff. So in my next video, in part 2, I will show my t-shirts. I will show books I have. I have magazines. I even have comic books of Metallica. I got hats, necklaces, watches. I have a lot of stuff from Metallica. This is a cool book from So What. This is from the box set, which had the VHSs. It's kind of hard to come by now. But this is actually cooler than the CD one, the CD and DVD version, because it doesn't have the booklet. You have to yeah, it's like it's something you find on the disc or something. You have to, you know, you put the disc, the DVD, or I think it's a DVD. You put it in your computer and you can watch it. The book, you can flip through the book or something on your computer. I have the book here in paper. Fuck that bullshit. So I'm keeping this box set, even though I have 2 versions. I have the box set with the VHS, the original one with this booklet, and I have another one with the DVD and CD and some digital booklet of this. But fuck that bullshit. Fuck that noise. I'm gonna keep this because it's cool as shit. So, awesome pictures of them on tour during the Black Album and the Snake Pit. This is a really cool concert, live shit. Binge and Purge. It's really awesome. It's really, really good concert. James sounds awesome. They sound like their best at their prime in this concert. Sounds just like the album. These are album covers. That's the album I did have. I kicked myself on that one, the Garage Days. And this is just covers, like singles and stuff like that. There's a lot of their singles from, you know, Justice for All and Black Album and all different albums, just singles. Yeah, lots of pictures in here of them during their concert. So really cool stuff. If you're a fan and you're watching this video, send me links. If you have videos of Metallica, send me links and show me, you know, your collection. I'm sure you guys have a bigger collection than I do, because I don't have like a whole house full of Metallica. There's people that actually do have that. They have a house full of Metallica merchandise. I don't do that, but I do have a lot. But yeah, definitely show me, you know, links in the comments of your videos, or tell me about the stuff you own. This is a Scary Guy stencil, which I spray painted. I actually added the logo on there. And these are the VHSs, which I'm gonna keep anyway. I don't have a VHS player anymore. I should probably get one. I still have a couple VHSs. But I just keep it for the artwork and the nostalgia of it. Of a VHS. They're kind of a relic now. I have a couple VHSs, but I don't have a player anymore. Or at least I think I do have a VHS player, but I don't think it works anymore. But I still keep it for nostalgia, for the artwork, and Maybe one day I'll get another one, another VHS player. So, pretty cool stuff. This is the CD, all 3 CDs of their concerts during the Black Album. I believe one of them is during Justice for All too. Cool box set. Really expensive back in the day as well. And this is what I was talking about, the DVD and CD version. Look at that compared to that big box that I just showed you. That's the smaller scale version that they released. Kinda boring, bare bones. So I'm keeping that big old box set because that thing's just freaking awesome. This is a VHS of the one videos called 2 of 1. I keep it because why not? It's got cool artwork of, you know, pus head artwork on the cover. Why the hell not? Keep it. It's pretty cool regardless that I can't play it anymore. Plus I have it on one of my music video DVDs of Metallica, which I'll show in this video. This is a DVD concert of S&M. So it's basically just the same thing. It's just visually you watch them, and you can change it where you can only hear the orchestra or you can just hear Metallica. So it's kind of a cool option. This is a year and a half of Metallica Part 1 and 2, which is just a documentary of behind the scenes of them making the Black Album, which is kind of cool. And I believe they have music videos too in there of the Black Album. This is Metallica Cliff Mall, which shows footage of Cliff. I guess this is the best they could show of him. They're pretty raw and they're not the best quality in the world, but it is what it is. This is what they have. So this is Metallica, the videos from 1989 to 2004. This was during Saint Anger when they released this. So yeah, has most of their music videos except for the ones from Death Magnetic and Hardwired to Self-Destruct. So yeah, pretty badass DVD there. This is Cunning Stunts. This is another concert during Load and Reload. So yeah. Interestingly enough, they don't really do a lot of Load or Reload songs on here. It's mostly just their older stuff, which is kind of funny. Now this is Metallica, Some Kind of Monster. This was the documentary that, you know, when they were about to break up, so they documented everything that was going on in their personal life. So it's a pretty interesting movie. It's kind of deep, and it's pretty cool. It's like they're all these guys are going through therapy, so they can, you know, get their issues out and be, you know, because they have issues with each other. There's problems within the band, you know. All that touring and all the albums they made and all the success is just caught up to them. The beast of Metallica, which is why it's called Some Kind of Monster. So, yeah. So anyways, yeah, this is gonna be it for right now. This is my collection. This is part 1. If people really like this, I will do another video. We'll see. I don't know, as far as my subscribers, if they like Metallica, or people that are new to my channel that are checking out this video, if you like Metallica. So hope more people enjoy this video, and I will see you in part 2, where I talk about more of my Metallica collection. Most likely I will do part 2, so I can show more of my collection, because I have so much more. So much more, it's unbelievable. It might even be 3 videos at this point if I go any further than this. So yeah. Anyways, this is my Metallica collection so far, and I will talk to you guys later. You guys have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, take it easy.